In my last video, I talked something about brain fog, and I told some of the experiences these people have after a clinical recovery from COVID. It was actually incomplete in the sense I talked something about a portion of the long COVID, that is brain fog, a cognitive skill impairment. That's what we saw. But what are the other symptoms which involves brain, that is the nervous system, and the mind, that is the psychological disturbances? You call these disturbances as neuropsychiatric disturbances. Going to talk in detail about those, but I'll just mention some of the important problems or symptoms they experience. So one is loss of sleep, insomnia. That's what we call it in medical terms. Another is anxiety, in an alert mood as if something is going to happen. So this is overreaction and anxiety. Depressions. Over anxiety may lead to depression. And sometimes because these people are depressed, and if somebody says you seem to be depressed, that creates an anxiety in them. So they are sort of interrelated neuropsychiatry. And apart from that, what is something called post-traumatic stress disorder. That means a trauma means a shocking thing which you experience. It may be anything, a physical trauma or mental trauma. This is a disease in which the whole world is afraid of this problem and trying to control. So you have naturally the anxiety part and the reaction to this disorder, which is following a mental or physical trauma. So this is post-traumatic stress disorder. This is another problem people face. And another neurological problem which really is disturbing is one is the loss of smell and loss of taste. These two were there in the Delta variant for most of the people, and these two symptoms were very much indicative that they may be positive. But in the latest variant, the Omicron, this is not much seen. Once the people recover from this, the smell and taste to normal state. But for some people, it remains for them for a longer time. So these are all the other neuropsychiatric, neurological, psychological disturbances, cognitive skills. All these come together, and I talked only about the cognitive skills, and I ended up that I will try to explain why the cause for this. One. Second thing, to relieve the tension or anxiety, why I am having this problem, when this will be over. There are lots of doubts in people who are suffering from this brain fog. Those doubts should be cleared. Then only at least 50% they'll be relieved of their doubts. This is one major aspect of, I cannot say treatment, it's a reassurance given by the doctors. In fact, in other words, it is called a rehabilitation of the person, mentally, psychologically, right? First, let us think logically what could be the reasons. The number one cause is, a probable reason is, which we all accept, the stress. You are infected, you are admitted. The fear of death, near death, the environment you are facing in the hospital. With every day one person dying next to you and another person occupying the same bed, you will think who occupied your bed, whether they got relieved or they died. And the sound, the atmosphere, the doctors visiting, the nurses, the beep sound of the monitor, isolation. Nobody enters, nobody touches, nobody interacts with you. So you become isolated. The loneliness, all this will affect your mind. Second, as I told you, the anxiety or depression because you happen to be here. And when you are in that atmosphere, definitely the rhythm of your sleep, the pattern of your life changes. Sometimes the night you don't sleep, in the morning hours you may sleep. Suddenly you may wake up with a nightmare or a bad dream. So what really happens? A lack of the sleep pattern changing. The diet you are taking, entirely different, a hospital atmosphere. The medications people give, a lot of medicines, injections, all these things may produce a sort of anxiety whether these medicines will work or not. These are all common things, but there is one more thing very, very important is hormonal changes. This is a stressful situation, so naturally all the hormones which are involved in stress will be released. The stress hormones like your adrenaline, an emergency hormone, like cortisol, your metabolism increases, and evidently the thyroid hormones. Not only that, you need more energy, so you need more glucose to get that energy. So your blood glucose increases. Your pancreas is not able to supply enough insulin, another hormone, the insulin. So definitely that is why many people who recover from COVID, they end up with diabetes mellitus. So all these hormonal changes, stress hormones, there may be there. It is something like igniting something which you have forgotten to put up, and the hormones may still in your blood. So these are all other factors which may be reason for this lingering effects. Another very important reason for this is the immunological response. Your immune system reacts to this exposure to a new virus. The immune system actually doesn't know what to do, how much to act, what type of reaction I should do, whether it is a weak organism or a pathogenic or a virulent organism. The immune system doesn't know. So what it does, it produces a reaction which is in to the expected level. So this immunological response is not equal to the threat. It reacts more, a overreaction of immunological system. In fact, many people died not because of this virus, but because of our immunological overaction or excessive response from the immunological system. You have heard the cytokine storm. Cytokines are nothing but substances which are released during an infection followed and inflammation. They are mediators. When these cytokines, they come like a storm, that is why we call it cytokine storm. That is another immunological excess response or reaction. Cytokine storm is an inflammatory response. Excessive production of inflammatory mediators. Every organ is affected here. Every organ reacts and every organ is inflamed. After all, inflammation is a process in which the body tries to protect or prevent the spread of infection to other body. It's a protective response to the seen in our body. So this sort of inflammatory reactions, the inflammatory mediators, these mediators are circulating even after discharge, even after clinical recovery. Another important thing is, even though our body has come out of the disease, the immune system has fought against the virus. Now what happens? The virus is broken down into pieces. These small pieces which is circulating in our body may produce an inflammatory reaction which is going on. The immune system still is active till all the broken fragments are removed from our body. So this is another concept why this long COVID is there with many. By saying this, I am giving an answer to a very big doubt, suspicion, fear, anxiety. I am having these symptoms like this even after discharge. The biggest question in your mind running is whether I am still infective to others. First point. Second, whether I have still the organism inside my body. Is that the reason why I am having this sort of symptoms, experiences, etc.? This is the biggest question. You are not infective. The symptoms are not due to the organism which is present in your body. It may be due to a dead organism or a fragmented pieces of that. So you are not having the organism inside your body, and you are not infective to others. And these experiences not due to the presence of the viruses inside your body. Even if the virus is present, a negligible quantity of virus, the viral load may be very much negligible. So you are not infective in that level. Then why this problem? Why I am having this? I'll give you a small example. You have a fan which is switched on, and the fastest speed it's running, and you are switching off the fan. Now what happens? The supply is cut to the fan. Does the fan stop abruptly once you switch off this? No. It takes some time. It goes, it revolves again and again for some time, and then slowly it comes to a stop. Compare this with your problem. Your brain, your immunological system, your inflammatory system, your cells, your organs, all these are switched on to face this situation. And you have just come out, means like you have switched off the fan, you have just come out. So like the fan which takes some time to come to a standstill, your body's reaction, your body's response, your experiences will be there for some time. That will come to an end. So I think I have given enough explanation, a possible explanation for this. So from all these things, what you understand is no organ is directly involved, no organ is damaged, and the symptoms are not due to any structural or functional problem in any of these systems. And before we conclude, there is one more important aspect. The brain is a center in which all the informations from outside, inside, within brain, all these, they come there and all the information are processed. So these impulses, these informations, these messages, how they are delivered to brain through connections. And these connections, they act, or these junctions, they act by releasing many substances within the brain. They are called transmitters. They transmit the impulse or a message from one nerve end to the other end, something like a relay race. There are many, in fact, they are called something like local hormones even. To mention some, the serotonin, the dopamine, the acetylcholine, noradrenaline, these are all some of the neurotransmitters. And during this stress and emergency, these transmitters are very much released, and they also cause some of the symptoms experienced by these people. Fine, we will meet in the next video. In my next video, we will talk something about how to face this situation, one. Second, how to come out of this brain fog, how to diagnose whether I have brain fog or not, diagnostic measures, the treatment aspects, the management of the situation, and how to cope up this a disturbed mind as well as a disturbed physique. In my next video, we will talk something about that.